Good morning. Welcome to Skholar IAS Current Affairs sessions. Today we are going to look into important issues of January 8th current affairs. So the first issue is with respect to merchant discount rate. So this particular issue has been already asked in the prelims, and with respect to mains it is important in economic development portion. So the news is that the Union government has scrapped the merchant discount rate on RuPay and UPI transactions only. In all other aspects, the MDR is applicable, but only on RuPay and UPI transactions, the MDR is scrapped. So basically, what is an MDR? MDR is nothing but a fees or a charge which is being applied by the banks as well as payment service providers like wallets and all other digital service providers on the people who are using it. For example, it could be a customer or it could be a merchant. If they use the credit card or UPI transaction facilities, they have to pay the bank or the payment service providers an amount. That particular amount is called the merchant discount rate. So basically, this Visa card holders, MasterCard and RuPay that you possess, when you use it for a transaction, you are basically being charged by the bank for using this digital infrastructure. At the same time, if you look at the merchants, when you do a transaction through your phone as a UPI transaction to the merchants who are availing this particular facility will be charged by the wallets and other payment service providers. This particular charge is called the merchant discount rate. So coming to why the MDR is scrapped, this is because when MDR is charged, the overall transaction cost increases. As a result, it impedes the merchants or the customers to use the digital transaction. So once the MDR is scrapped, as a result, this will increase the digital financial penetration in the country. Also, this will help increase the revenues of the indigenous real-time payment system UPIs. For example, RuPay and all other indigenous payment systems, payment service providers, and the merchants who are using it will increasingly use the digital payments because the MDR is scrapped. So these are the two main reasons why MDR is scrapped. So basically, who got affected because of the scrapping of the MDR? When a bank provides a digital infrastructure facility to the customers, or a payment service provider provides digital infrastructure to the customer or the merchant, they are investing certain money into it. So they are recovering this money using MDR. When this particular MDR is scrapped, these two segments will be affected. Banks will be affected as well as the payment service providers will be affected because they have invested huge money into this segment of providing digital payment infrastructure. So it also has a spillover effect on startups. Those startups which have come into the market for providing digital payment, they will not be able to recover the cost. As a result, the big players will dominate the segment and the small startups will perish. And on top of that, when the MDR is scrapped, this will also impede the investment into the sector. The digital payment infrastructure providers will not attract investment because they don't have avenue to take back whatever the investment have been put in. So these are the repercussions of this particular decision. So how it affects the customers? Basically, MDR will finally cascade on the head of the customer. Finally, the customer bears the cost of MDR. So as a result, when the MDR is scrapped, the customers are in the advantageous position. But however, there is a dark side of it. In the long run, lack of investment in digital payment infrastructure will result in more UPI payment failures. Even now we are experiencing more UPI payment failures, and in future when MDR is scrapped, it will not attract investment. As a result, the quality of digital payment services in India will decrease. As a result, customer will face large number of UPI transaction failures. So where lies the solution? Basically, when the MDR is scrapped, banks and payment service providers will be affected. So government has to reimburse the MDR payments to these players so that they are incentivized to increase the investment and the infrastructure in the segment. Also, government has to know the grievances of these players by having a discussion and aiding the growth of the segment. So this is the issue with respect to MDR, and this is very important with respect to GS3 economic development. Second issue is with respect to vaccination and challenge. The relevance is that in prelims they could ask a question on antigen and antibody. In mains they could ask what are the different types of vaccines and their operating mechanisms. So the news is that India has approved 2 COVID-19 emergency vaccines. But the problem is we don't have adequate doctors and nurses to advance this or to take this vaccine to millions of people in India. So by addressing this particular issue, we could set an example for all other developing countries who are facing this problem. Challenges in vaccine delivery. World Health Organization has pointed out that India is lagging in number of doctors and nurses. And also, with respect to COVID-19, we have to train large number of people to administer the COVID-19 vaccine, because the COVID-19 vaccine have to be carefully administered, else it could have negative fallouts. Second, production of vaccines to the tune of demand is a big challenge. Though India is the largest producer of vaccines in the world, we have such a kind of production system to meet the demand of the world as well as India is a big challenge. Third, once the vaccine is produced, we need to store it. Storage is not very easy with respect to vaccines, because vaccines have to be stored at a particular temperature for a particular duration of time, and any variation in temperature could deactivate the vaccine. As a result, we need to have robust large-scale storage facilities, which is lagging right now. Fourth issue is that we have a problem of religious as well as cultural barriers. We have superstition issues. So we have to cross these barriers through mass campaign by the government. Fifth, there have been a lot of fake news that is spreading across the country that COVID-19 vaccine will cause a devastating effect on individual lives. It is the imperative of the government to provide for mass awareness campaign to clear the doubts of the people and also to make them confident with respect to COVID-19 vaccine. Frontline health workers forms the crucial part of COVID-19 management. They are going to be the front runners in taking the vaccine to the people. We have already trained 4 lakh frontline health workers with respect to contact tracing, quarantine strategies, using the PPE kits, managing the stress. All this we have already trained, but 4 lakh frontline health workers are not adequate. We need to increase or induct more people to respond to the COVID and to supply to the vaccines to the people. To address the inadequacy of manpower as well as the training aspects of these frontline health workers, Project ECHO provides a model. Project ECHO is nothing but extension for community healthcare outcomes. This have been implemented to deal with hepatitis C. So this is nothing but a kind of a video conferencing facility where specialists in hepatitis C will train the healthcare workers in the remote areas through video conferencing, so that these healthcare workers will provide specialty training or specialty care to the patients there. So this addresses the barrier of accessibility to training. So this particular model is later emulated for HIV management, tuberculosis management and all these things. So the same project or the same model could be used to train the frontline health workers with respect to delivering COVID-19 vaccines. So what is the way forward to deliver the vaccines? First is we have to induct more health workers and train them through ECHO model. And third, we have to develop a model which will help us in future health crisis also. Third issue is with respect to formulas. The relevance is in mains GS3 economic development, where they could ask a question on the ways to improve the farmer's income, to double the farmer's income, or they could ask a question on ways to commercialize Indian agriculture, or the question could be straight with respect to what are the formulas and what are the criticisms of the formulas. So basically this particular topic is very important. So right now the issue is that after several rounds of discussions, government has accepted that the formulas have flaws and has accepted to make amendments to the formulas. But the problem is these amendments are not welcomed by the farmers. They want the repeal of the formulas because these amendments are not providing solution to the problems of the farmers. What are the amendments proposed by the government to the farm laws to win the confidence of the farmers? First amendment is that APMCs and free markets will have same taxation rate. This was not the case with the previous law. The previous law says that APMCs will attract taxation while the free markets will not. Second amendment is that farmers are allowed to approach the civil court in case of the dispute. This was not the case with the law. The law says that farmers need to approach subdivisional magistrate. Third amendment is addressing the farmers' fear with respect to losing of land if they don't own the commitment in the contract farming. Fourth amendment is that all traders would have to be registered and verified on the government portal to make any purchase in the free market. But the law says that the traders who are having transactions in the free market need not be registered or verified. So the amendment is trying to address this particular issue. This package consists of three aspects: continuation of MSP system, making the public procurement system compulsory, third, time-bound purchase of the output. The cumulative effect of these three is that farmers will have right price at the right time. As a result, their income will be assured. So the benefit of this particular package is that farmers' minimum income will be assured. On the other hand, food self-sufficiency will be done. The package offered by the government is not well received by the farmers. This is basically because of the two primary reasons. One is that farmers feel that in MSP, PPS and time-bound purchase deal, if one aspect fails, the entire package fails. For example, if MSP is assured and PPS is not done in a compulsory manner, it results in redundancy of the price support. Similarly, when MSP and PPS is done but it is not done in time-bound manner, it results in wastage of perishables. As a result, farmers attract loss. Second primary issues which the farmers are raising is that they say that APMC and agro businesses cannot coexist, or APMC and agro businesses coexistence is not sustainable. This is because when a farmer has a contract with the agro businesses, he cannot deliver the produce to the APMC. If he delivers the product to the APMC, it is like breaking the contract with the agro businesses. This will have legal consequences. Farmers don't have much resources to deal with these legal consequences. So they believe that APMC and agro businesses cannot coexist. Second fundamental issue with respect to MSP is that farmers are not satisfied with the determination of MSP. They demand C2 plus 50 formula, which is designed by the MS Swaminathan. But right now government is not using this particular formula, which is attracting so much problems for the farmers. Also, MSP is announced for 23 crops, but compulsory and timely procurement is done for only rice and wheat. As a result, the remaining 21 crops, they don't get proper price at the proper time. As a result, the price support system itself fails. So what is the way forward? The proposed amendment has to be revisited. On top of that, any future laws that deals with large section of the people have to be discussed widely. Third, agrarian reforms that moves beyond the laws and institutions have to be undertaken. For example, research in agriculture, research in hybrid varieties, and streamlining the supply chain management of agriculture. All these things have to be invested and promoted by the government. So these are all the issues that we have for you today. For more issues, please log on to scholar.com. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.